Woo! Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. Why do you say that every video there, Mr. Buff Gandhi? I don't know. Just something I started saying. It's kind of caught on. It's kind of cute, right? I don't know. Not the kind of guy that uses the word cute, but whatever. Works for this video. So, again, you have to kind of find a little humor sometimes in things. I oftentimes think that I'm the funniest person that I know. That's probably not true. But in all seriousness, this is video number 3 that I'm talking about. A very serious topic of depression. You know, depression is a word that gets thrown around so much. And, you know, I told you that the metaphor that we're using for depression is like that emotional and energetic sense of being held down, right? So if you were in a room somewhere and on the floor and you had 6 people or 8 people or whatever number of people are holding you down, that, you know, that's kind of the metaphor of depression. And, you know, there's 45 million people that are medicated for depression. There's much exponentially more people who experience it intermittently. And, you know, it really relates back to, like the previous video that I talked about, to a past experience and our narrative that centers around that past experience. Now we're looking at our experience as it relates to the present, you know, basically stating that things are not where we want them to be because it shouldn't be this way. And, you know, these two can overlap. The first one, the past, can overlap with the present because based upon a value system or what we were taught or what we were told, that kind of formulates that story that we've told about ourselves, kind of pulls through to the present when, you know, your body isn't the way that you want it to be. You know, again, not all of our thoughts are based in reality, people. You know, if you're told that your body is a certain way based upon someone else's opinion, you're going to look at yourself through a lens of judgment. That lens of judgment sometimes can cause depression. It can cause frustration. It can cause a lot of different feelings, not being good enough, etc., etc. I mean, I've known people who have some of the best bodies, at least in my judgment, in my eyes, and they're not unhappy because there's always going to be that little tweak based upon, again, a past experience, or, you know, the current experience that they're experiencing right now is not what it should be or what they think it should be. And that's not always based in reality. You know, that narrative that we have about ourselves that I spoke about earlier oftentimes is based in bullshit. So, as you can relate to this, you know, when we're talking about the presence, there's that resistance to the energetic and emotional resistance to the acceptance of the way things are. You know, being able to accept the way things are is not a bad thing. Now, we don't want to settle for certain things. You know, obviously, we'd love to have vitality of health and be in the best health possible. But if we're not, by virtue of us accepting it, alleviates a whole lot of shit that we're placing upon ourselves. You know, if we're not happy in a job, by continuously doing the job over and over and over again and try to reach for certain things, you know, drinking alcohol at night to calm our nerves and calm our mind because we don't want to go to work tomorrow, that presents itself as a problem. And again, when these things become primal patterns done over and over and over and over again, and we're just like 2 years down the road, 10 years down the road, and we don't really acknowledge it, we don't accept it, and we're not aware of it, it translates itself into that 6 people holding you down. So, you know, when it becomes that lens of judgment, that state of resistance, that this is not the way that it should be, which creates that depression because your body isn't the way that it is. Your bank account's not the way that it should be. Your spouse is not the way that they should be, right? Again, it's a judgment. And with that judgment comes resistance. And then we're denying ourselves that ability to accept, acknowledge, and be aware of the current situation so that we can actually do something about it. And then we become depressed. And, it's a very difficult thing to put in a video, because I know some of the argument is going to be, well, you make it sound so simple. Well, it really is simple, but simple doesn't mean easy. There are people that have a hard time getting out of bed in the morning because of some story that they've written about themselves in their head. Current situation shouldn't be the way that it is, and they're taking medication to help themselves become better, but yet they're not getting any better, and they become depressed, and they're looking from outside sources, food, sex, drugs, rock and roll, whatever the case it may be, to acquire something to help them, but it ends up hurting them in the long run. And 15 years of taking antidepressants, and I've learned that I wrote the story about myself because I believed certain things that were told to me, whether innocent or not, about me. Certain events had happened to me, innocent or not, that redefined the narrative I already had about myself as I moved forward. And I had to realize that none of that stuff was based in truth. I am what I am, and I am proud of what I am. And it isn't just watching a video that's going to change that for people. It really is about going back to those 3 A's. Acknowledging, acceptance, and awareness of such, to be able to do something about it. Because life really is worth living. You were put on this planet for a reason. Not to just be another casualty of war. You're here for a purpose. It's time for us to start acting like it. #value if you found value in any of these videos. I encourage you that if you'd love to have a conversation, I may look like a scary boogeyman. Okay? If you just look at my face, very serious all the time. I'm not scary. Okay? I have a lot of compassion for people who go through things. And those that champion the cause and can really get themselves out of no way, those are victory stories that I want to be able to see, because it's inspiring as we move through and I do the work that I do. So, hope everybody has a happy and a healthy day.